Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, 'cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Take me by my little hand and go like this. Yeah, twist, baby, twist. Yeah, just like that. And do the twist. My daddy is sleeping and mama ain't around. Yeah, daddy's just sleeping and mama ain't around. We're gonna twist and twist and twist it till we tear the house down. Come on and twist. Yeah, baby, twist. Yeah, just like that. And do the twist. Yeah, you should see my little sis. You should see my little sis. She really knows how to rock. She knows how to twist. Come on and twist. Yeah, baby, twist. Yeah, just like that.
Buck, you have been instrumental people in not only my baseball career, but in my life. You have known me from my earliest days in baseball, and it was an honor to have you as my manager in both the minor and again with the Yankees. Your ability to bring out the best in players impacted not only me, but hundreds and hundreds throughout your amazing career as a manager. And that's why you're being inducted today. Thank you and congratulations. Ed Lucas was one of the first writers I met when I was first called up, and he covered me for my entire career. It was impossible not to be amazed at how he overcame his ability to see and cover the game of baseball for well over 60 years. Ed was first and foremost a journalist and a friend. I missed him dearly. We all do. His legacy lives on through his foundation and now in his induction. My love to Allison and the Lucas family. Congratulations. Congratulations, James, in your induction today. I am so honored to be just one of your many subjects you have painted in your long and illustrious career. Your amazing portraits have captured and preserved the history of the game and its players. And it's your legacy, James, and you have so much more to do. Congratulations to you and your family. You are now a Hall of Famer.
Hi, it's Bob Costas. Each year, if I'm unable to attend the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I make a video like this. I do it for the most part to tip my cap to the new inductees, but I also do it, at least in part, because as some of you may be aware, Rennie LaRue can be persistent to the point of shamelessness. Rennie, I kid because I love. Okay, without further ado, here we go on this year's inductees. Joe Black, 6 years in the Negro Leagues, 2 times a member of a Negro League World Championship team with the Baltimore Eli Giants. And then when he became part of the first wave of players to follow Jackie Robinson into the big leagues, he was the 1952 National League Rookie of the Year with the Dodgers, going 15-4, ERA 2.15, and he beat Allie Reynolds in Game 1 of the 1952 World Series for the Dodgers against the Yankees. He's one of the people prominently featured in Roger Kahn's classic baseball book, The Boys of Summer. Why? Because Joe Black was a thoughtful and interesting man beyond his baseball accomplishments, and he had an impressive career after he left the Diamond. His daughter, Martha Jo, is in attendance tonight as we welcome Joe Black to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball. You know, some people are inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame because they're noteworthy, but they're not quite Cooperstown level Hall of Famers. That is definitely not true of Don Mattingly. 9-time Gold Glover, 6-time All-Star, the 1985 American League MVP, career batting average 307. And you know, when I think about a Hall of Famer, one of the things I consider is, was there ever a period of time, not a single year, but several years, where the guy was considered either the best player in baseball or on the short list in the argument, who's the best player in baseball? Here are 6 consecutive seasons for Don Mattingly: 343, 324, 352, 327, 311, and 303. Don Mattingly should long since be in Cooperstown, which is not that far from the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. I hope someday he can swing by both on the same trip. Jesse Barfield, most of his career was with the Toronto Blue Jays. In the 80s, the Blue Jays had a terrific team. Barfield in right, Lloyd Mosby in center, George Bell in left. What a wonderful outfield, and they were a continually contending team. Jesse Barfield had one of the great arms in the history of baseball. 5-time Gold Glover as a right fielder. 4 of those Gold Gloves won with the Blue Jays, and the last one during his stint at the end of his career with the New York Yankees. And just because he was a great glove man, don't get the idea he couldn't hit. 40 home runs in 1986 for the Blue Jays. Jesse Barfield, welcome to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Howard Johnson, part of memorable New York Met teams in the 80s and early 90s, switch hitting third baseman, power hitter with speed. In fact, 3 times he went 30-30, 30 or more home runs, 30 or more stolen bases. And in 1991, he led the National League in both homers and RBIs with 38 and 117, and in the same season, stole 30 bases. Terrific all-round player. Hojo into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Buck Showalter, one of the best managers of his generation. 4-time Manager of the Year. In 94 as a young manager with the Yankees. And only a couple of years ago in 22 with the Mets, when he led his team to first place and 101 victories, and in between the Manager of the Year for the Rangers one season and for the Baltimore Orioles on another occasion. And he's also one of baseball's best raconteurs, a terrific guy to spend time with, a tremendous conversationalist. When he wants to be, when he drops by the studio or the booth, he's a terrific broadcaster, a true baseball man. Buck Showalter, now in the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Which brings us to Yogi Berra, Now, Yogi's already in Cooperstown. 3-time MVP, one of baseball's most memorable characters. How many times? 15-time All-Star and part of 14 World Series teams there, and a couple more as a manager, one with the Yankees, one with the Mets, and I can't even keep track of how many World Series he went to as a coach with either of those two teams. One of the most standout figures in the history of baseball and someone who transcends baseball. He's found several times in Bartlett's familiar quotations alongside the likes of Shakespeare and Winston Churchill. And you're all familiar with most of them, but I'll give you my favorite, which is not heard all that often, and it should be. Yogi once said, always go to your friends' funerals. Otherwise, they won't go to yours. Pausing here for the laughter to subside. That's all I got. Congratulations to all the inductees, and have a terrific night.
Hi, Howie Rose here, and as a proud member of the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, it's my honor to take a minute or so to some of those who are being inducted tonight, beginning with the great Yogi Berra. There might not ever have been a more beloved figure in any sport than Lawrence Peter Berra. He was a treasure as a player, winning 10 world championships while playing for the Yankees. And then, of course, he won 3 more world championships as a coach, one with the Mets, 2 more with the Yankees. And oh, by the way, as a manager, he won pennants with the Yankees and the Mets. And I really feel the Yankees did Yogi a favor when they fired him after the 1964 season, because that club clearly was about to fall completely apart, as it did. And rather than Yogi have to suffer through that, I guess you could say they put him out of what would have been eventual misery, but it did nothing whatsoever to tarnish his image, not only as a player and a manager later on once more, but as a person too. I don't think anyone in baseball, or anywhere else for that matter, has ever had a bad word to say about Yogi Berra. Howard Johnson, well, he's a friend and neighbor of mine in Florida, and I'll tell you what, he is one of the outstanding New York Mets of all time. Very, very fitting that he's in the Mets Hall of Fame, something that should have happened a long time ago, but it did last year, and we're glad that he's a member of that Hall of Fame, in addition to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Because let's face it, there haven't been many more electrifying players in the history of the New York Mets than Howard Johnson, a switch hitter, hit with great power from both sides of the plate, great speed, great arm, 30-30. He did everything on a baseball field and represented the Mets, as he continues to do to this day, with pride. So congratulations, Hojo, and congratulations to Buck Showalter as well, who managed both the Yankees and the Mets. And I had the pleasure of getting to know and work with Buck for a couple of years in 2022, 2023. And there wasn't a day when I had a conversation with Showalter about baseball that I didn't come away from it having known more about the game than I did before we had that chat. It was a pleasure getting to know Buck. I still stay in touch from time to time, so I want to personally congratulate Buck, as well as Yogi and Hojo and all of tonight's inductees. Have a great, great time.
Rennie, congratulations again for a spectacular event. The New York State Baseball Hall of Fame gets bigger and better every single year, thanks to you. You do a great, great job. Let me first say that, congratulations to all of the inductees. First, Jesse Barfield. Jesse was a teammate in 1989 and a great player, strong, powerful guy, and a cannon for an arm in the outfield. Nobody ran on Jesse. Nobody. Also, a great New York third baseman on the other side, Howard Johnson. Hojo had a really nice career, and well-deserved honor here. Also, he's a pretty good golfer. But I got to tell you, he's my new neighbor too, so this is great. Down in Florida, wonderful. Buck Showalter, Buck and I were teammates in the minors, and Buck pretty much ran the team back then. So, Buck knows how to bring people together, and one of the best managers in baseball. Also, my respects to Yogi Berra and the Berra family. Yogi was the manager who called me up to the big leagues. He was a sharp guy, passionate guy, and a real hero too, a D-Day, a veteran, and he came back to play baseball. I mean, Yogi was a great hero and a super, super gentleman. Most specifically, I'd like to congratulate my good friend Donnie. Donnie was the best player I've ever played with. I mean, game on the line, you want him at the bat every single time, no matter what. I mean, I had a front row seat. He was my locker mate, and I got to talk to him every day. So he was a great player and a tremendous coach and manager. He works as hard as anybody, and his work ethic is second to none. Donnie was so clutch. I mean, just a few examples. I mean, when I was up in the big leagues my first year, it was the end of the season, we're out of the race, and Donnie said, he's sitting next to me on the bench in Baltimore. He said, I'm going to get my 200th hit now. I said, really? How do you know he's going to throw you a strike? He said, I'm going to get my hit. So he gets up there about the 8th inning or something, and Don Hussey's pitching, runs the count 3-2, and I swear he throws a 96-mile-an-hour fastball over his head. And I swear, Donnie, you left your feet and hit a bullet into center field. It was unbelievable. I said, what the heck? I couldn't believe it. And, of course, later that year, there was a tie for the league lead batting average, and it was Donnie and Dave Winfield. Of course, Donnie went out and got 4 hits that day. So, talk about clutch. Interestingly enough, and the next year, we were in Fenway Park in Boston, and Wade Boggs was leading the league and hitting by about 5 points or something. Donnie has to go 5 for 5 to win the batting title. Well, his first at bat, he hits a double off the wall, makes a bad base hit, and I said, this son of a bee is going to do it again. I can't believe it. And so his third at bat hits a line drive up the middle. Marty Barrett makes a diving catch and stops the ball, and Donnie made it out there, and that was the end of that. But if that ball got through, I would have bet my life he would have got 5 for 5. So Donnie, everybody knows what happened in Seattle in the playoffs, and I got to say, bud, I think a lot of people feel me a world champion. You don't ring to say that. You just play like a world champion all the time, and that's what I love about you. I think it's a great thing. Donnie makes everyone around him better. Talks about winning all the time. Beat you offensively, defensively on the bases. Truly a good all-around player and a great ambassador for baseball. So this is a well-deserved honor. I'm really proud of you. Congratulations to your entire family. Even your brothers used to beat you up a little bit when you were younger. But I think it's a great honor, well-deserved. I love you, brother, and welcome to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was so honored to have Yogi in my life. During and after my baseball career, he was always a source of inspiration to me, and of course, great advice. He was larger than life, yes, but one of the greatest to ever play this game. Look it up. His legacy lives on with his amazing museum and learning center. So he's still impacting lives. No one is more worthy to be inducted than Yogi.
Hi, this is Chaz Palminteri. Let me tell you something about Yogi Berra. The guy they said didn't look like an athlete or a baseball player. All right, 15 times an All-Star, 15. 10 World Series times a champ, 10. On all fingers, 10. 285 batting average, lifetime. 358 home runs. 1,430 RBIs. American League MVP 3 times. Only 6 guys in the history of baseball ever did it. Yogi Berra served in World War II in the Navy, put his baseball career on hold to do so. That's a man. College degree in mathematics. That's right, Yogi Berra. Not only a great player, but a great coach and manager, and he was universally liked and loved and respected by everyone. I didn't know Yogi well, but I had a chance to meet him when I would go to the Yankee games and sit in Steinbrenner's box. But let me tell you something about him. Of all these things I just said, he was a great man, a good soul. God bless the Berra family, and God bless Yogi Berra.
Good evening. Bucky Dent here. First of all, before I get started, I want to congratulate the 224 class. They're going to be inducted tonight into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. And I want to personally congratulate some good friends of mine, the Berra family, Larry, Tim, Dale, and Lindsay, and the whole Berra family. I guess everybody knows who I'm going to be talking about tonight. And anybody that knows Yogi knows that he loved family, he loved his wife Carmen, loved his country, and he loved baseball. And in case you don't know, I made some notes on his playing career. He was phenomenal. One of the most loved Yankee players that ever put the uniform on. First of all, he played and coached in 21 World Series. There's a lot of players, great players, that never played in one, and he played or coached in 21. As a player, he won 10. He was a 10-time world champion. He was an 18-time All-Star. He was a 3-time most valuable player. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1972. He caught a record 173 shutouts. He was named to the Major League Baseball All-Century team. His number 8 was retired in 1972, and he caught Don Larson's perfect game, the only one in World Series history, in 1956. Not only that, Yogi was a tough guy. And when you listen to this stat, you'll be amazed. At age 37, June 1962, he caught 22 innings, a 7-hour game. But after baseball, his passion and his love, in 1998, he opened the Yogi Berra Museum. And that's where his passion was. Yogi, we love you, baby. Thank you. Special night to all the inductees. I had a chance to be inducted a few years ago, and it's something that I never, ever forgot, and I won't ever forget. Congratulations, and have a great night.
Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let go, girl, we got a lot of love between us. Hang on, hang on, hang on to what we got. You say you're gonna go and call it quits, gonna chuck it all and break our love to bits. Breaking up. I wish you never said breaking up. No, we'll both regret it. That little chip of diamond on your hand mean a fortune, baby, but you know it stands for the love. For love to try and bind us. We just can't leave behind us, baby. Don't you go, baby. Let's stay. Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let go, girl. We got a lot of love between
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Buck, congratulations, man. One of my favorite people of all time. What I love about Buck Showalter, you know where you stand. You know, Buck reminds you of that dad, right? He'll ask you a question he already knows the answer to. He'll go, are you sure you want to look at it that way? We all know that type of person. That's Buck. He brings the best out of everybody who's ever encountered him. And that is why, Buck, you're being honored today. Not just for what you've done as a coach or a manager, but as a player as well. The man could rake. Donnie, if it wasn't for Don Mattingly sitting across the way there, I think we might have been talking about Buck Showalter as a first baseman of the Yankees. But Buck went a different route. And Buck, because of that other route, that's why you're sitting here today being honored in the Hall of Fame. Tremendous coach and on to manager position. Nobody knows baseball than you, Buck. You know, anytime I have a question or challenge or anything, I pick up the phone, I call Buck Showalter, and I ask him not only what might the situation might be, how do you correct it, or what's going on in the sport. But on top of that, as a person and as a dad, I call Buck and ask his advice on so many things. Buck, you've touched thousands of lives. And I'm not talking about just on a TV screen or fans that are watching. I'm talking about players that you've impacted directly as men, as gentlemen, as from boys to men, and as players, drawing the best out of them. Thank you for your sacrifice, your time, your hard work, and your dedication to this game, Buck. I love you, man. One of my favorite people in the world. Congratulations.
When I broke in with the Yankees, Donnie had just been named captain, and he lived up to that title in every possible way. Beyond learning from one of the best hitters ever, he looked out for me, he protected me, challenged me to excel, and truly taught me how to be a Yankee. He was always been there for me, and today I celebrate you, Don. Congratulations on your induction.
He might be the most revered athlete in New York history. He was the one shining light in a dark tunnel.
He just looked so right out there in the uniform and dirty with the eye black on.
He never gave up. Donnie represents the way baseball should be played.
Mattingly is unbelievable. People loved him. There was just something about him. He was one of us. He was everybody.
I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Communities. All my friends live in a small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is a small town with as little opportunity. Educated in a small town. Taught to fear Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in that small town. Another foreign romantic, that's me. But I've seen it all in this small town. Had myself a ball in a small town. Met an LA dollar, brought him to this small town. That small town, just like me. No, I cannot forget from where it is that I come from. I cannot forget the people who love me. Yeah, I can be myself here in this small town. And people let me be just what I want to be.
Don Mattingly. The fans want a dinger out of him.
I was just swinging good at the time. I knew how they wanted to pitch me, and he knew how to attack it.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on
early age. So once again, I want to thank Rennie and his committee, in particular Victor Feld, Lou Santos, Tom Scala, for giving me this prestigious honor. I feel both proud and humbled. It is the culmination of my coaching career. Thank you all very much.
I just want to make a note. You guys will all find a little place card at your place settings. Please fill it out and leave it on the table. We'll collect it. We want to make sure everybody is on our mailing list so you can stay up to date and maybe nominate some people or anything else you have in mind. So thanks. Okay, Brian Sweeney, where are you? Please come on up. Oh, there you are. Okay. Talk about a homegrown product. Brian Sweeney was born in Yonkers, attended high school in White Plains, and graduated from Mercy College in New York. The show awaited. Sweeney made his big league debut with the Seattle Mariners in 2003, spending parts of 4 seasons in the majors. He continued his pro career in Japan, and then after his playing days, he joined the Philadelphia Phillies as a pitching coach in their organization, launching the next phase of his pro career. Today, you will find him minding the moundsman of the Kansas City Royals as their major league pitching coach. Congratulations on a very ALDS versus the Yankees. Vinny Pasquantino, by the way. And your induction into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, Brian Sweeney. Congratulations.
Well, thank you for this honor. It's really cool to see friends here. Quentin Jensen, Josh Barfield, the IABF. It's really cool. I'm grateful for this honor. Thank you, Rennie, for giving me this opportunity to be here. It's humbling, not just as an individual, but as a reflection of those who supported me along the way. One of my favorite things about this event is that it recognizes not only people in the pro game, but also those on the amateur side. Long before they ever get to me, players are shaped by coaches and mentors like Curtis Nobles. Curtis, congratulations, who I've had the privilege to work with at All-Stars Academy for many years, and Joe Henkel as well, who's been teaching baseball in the Capital District for a really long time. So congratulations to them and to all the other inductees tonight for their impact on the game. You know, baseball and life have taught me countless lessons over the years. As I reflect on my journey, I realize just how much I've learned both on and off the field. Tonight, I'd like to share some of those lessons with you as they've not only shaped my career, but also the person I've become. My first job in the big leagues was with the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians. And it was an incredible opportunity to be on Terry Francona's staff. I was pumped. I was really excited to talk shop with Tito, and I couldn't wait to get it going. And one day he called me into his office, and I'm like, this is it. This is my chance. This is my chance to shine here. We're going to talk pitching. And I sat down, and Tito looked at me. He said, hey, Sween, you know that really thick card stock? I said, yeah, I do. He's like, can you go get me some? I'm out. So off I went, hunting down the card stock. And from that day on, I became the unofficial keeper of Tito's office supplies, making sure he always had the proper card stock because he always needed it and that his printer was working properly. Lesson one, a wise man once told me there are two types of people in this world, humble people and people that are about to be humbled. No job is too small, no matter your title or role. It taught me the importance of staying humble, putting your head down, and letting your work, however big or small, speak for itself. Speaking of hard work, I want to take a moment to recognize someone who's had a huge impact on me, my dad, Ed Sweeney, who's here tonight. He spent 35 years serving on the Yonkers Fire Department, a career defined by sacrifice, dedication, and commitment to helping others. Watching him in action inspired me to follow in his footsteps as a volunteer firefighter at the West Crescent Fire Department in Clifton Park. As I think about the teams I've been a part of, I realize that whether it's a firefighting team or a baseball team, there's a remarkable similarity on how they operate and the values that bind them. Leadership, communication, performance under pressure, and having each other's backs on and off the field and devoting to a common purpose. Lesson two, there's power in team. Two of my favorite quotes capture that perfectly. The strength of the wolf is in the pack, and team is more powerful, smart, and resilient than even the most talented individual. I wouldn't be standing here today without the love and guidance of my incredible parents. My mom, who's no longer with us, was the embodiment of courage, loyalty, and unconditional love. She'll always be the wind beneath my wings, and I'll feel her presence every day. My dad, he's always been a pillar of strength and wisdom, taught me, that stuck with me throughout my life. Back in Yonkers, we're shoveling some snow, because that happens, right? It happens around here. And I was on the side of the house, and I thought I was finished. And I had my dad come around, pointed out a small section that I had missed. And he said, "Why didn't you finish that?" And I said, "Dad, nobody really even walks over there." He said, "Brian, don't do any job half-ass." You remember that, Dad? All the time. Finish what you started. Lesson three, embrace discipline and pay attention to the details because you'll be happy with what those details produce. Another big part of my team has always been my beautiful who are here tonight as well, Christine and Karen. Has it, they're the ones that fueled my fire for baseball. Back when we were young, growing up on Somerville Place in Yonkers, they used to throw me wiffle balls, and I tried to hit it with that big rat. Remember those big reds? They eventually gave up when I hit a few of them off the deck. It didn't happen often, but they never stopped supporting me. We share a special relationship bonded by love and constant support. I can honestly say that I wouldn't be standing here without them by my side cheering me. Lesson four, never forget the people who have been there for you from the beginning, the ones who encouraged you to achieve your dreams. Speaking of dreams, when I was young, my mom took me to a doctor for a checkup, and I still remember this guy's name, Dr. Wojcik, right? Dr. Wojcik. During the visit, he asked me, "Hey, Brian, what are you going to do when you get older?" And without hesitation, I said, "I'm going to be a professional baseball player." And he looked at me and said, "Do you have a plan B?" Lesson five, when someone doubts you or tells you that you can't achieve something, you let that fire in your belly burn brighter and stronger. Ava and Mia, my daughters, this is for you. Nobody can take away what you have on the inside. Your heart, your thoughts, your will, your determination, that can't be taken out of the game. Others may try to crush it and steal it, but ultimately you guys have the final say in what happens. Hold on to your dreams and never let anyone tell you otherwise. Speaking of my ladies, my wife Connie and my daughters Ava and Mia, they couldn't be with us in Atlanta when we clinched. So I made sure that they're going to join us in Baltimore to experience that playoff atmosphere. After winning the wild card series, there was nothing that was going to keep me from sharing that moment with them. So champagne soaked and with security yelling at me, I ran up the concourse stairs to meet them in the stairwell, creating a memory I could never forget. Lesson 6, have a bucket list. And when you achieve something on it, celebrate it. In 2023, my first season with the Royals, we're having a tough year, and humor, I learned, can be a powerful tool to get us through those moments. I usually stand next to Matt Quatraro, a Hall of Famer himself here. And we talk often during games. And one inning stands out in particular. Our pitcher was having a rough go of it. Man, he's throwing balls off the backstop. He's walking guys. It's just one of those nights. Q looks over at me and he says, "Hey, Sween, did I ever tell you you're doing a hell of a job with this guy?" I looked over at him. I laughed my ass off. Lesson 7. Accountability, humility, and a little vulnerability are a big part of life. Being able to take a joke without getting offended allows us to learn, laugh, and grow. Looking back on my journey, I realized that each experience, each person, and each lesson was a dot leading me to this moment. I learned to be reliable, just like you, Dad, Christine, Karen. Don't look at me, Connie, Ava, Mia. My in-laws are here. My friends are here. I want to empower the people around me and serve them by being authentic, honest, and consistent. And I want to do that by being right by their side, just like you guys have been by my side. I also want to keep growing and learning, right, girls? Right? I'm fully committed to being loyal to my team, and we're going to teach each other how to take a punch, get up from a punch, avoid a punch, and sometimes we got to throw some punches, right? Never forget the power of team and assisting those around you to become better than they've ever been, better than they've ever dreamed. I can't end tonight without speaking to the most important part of my team, my family. My wife, who has been my rock through all of the ups and downs, don't look at me like that, is the backbone of our family. She has supported me through long seasons, countless road trips, and the highs and lows of a baseball season. Her love, strength, and unwavering support have been a foundation that has allowed me to chase my dreams. Connie, thank you for standing by my side, believing in me, and keeping our family strong. And to my beautiful daughters, Ava and Mia, you're the greatest gift I could ever ask for. Watching you grow and chase your own dreams has been really rewarding for me. You three are my everything, my heart, my home, my greatest achievement. Thank you for sharing this moment with me tonight. All right, as I close on this last page, I'd like to share something I wrote in an email to Rennie. He asked me to put something together, a few words on why I love baseball, and he gave me a whole day to do it. Thank you, Ren. Thank you, Ren. It's actually in the program. This is something that was put in half of it, though. I don't know where that other second half came from. Somebody made that up. That's not me. The top half is what I wrote, and here it is. One of my earliest memories of baseball is driving up Park Avenue in Yonkers, New York, heading to Mary's Field for a T-ball game. I still remember the butterflies in my stomach as the field came into view. Those butterflies, the good butterflies, the ones you get when you know you're a part of something that you love. It was more than just a game. It was the beginning of a lifelong journey. From Mary's Field to Kauffman Stadium and every stop along the way, that same feeling has never left me. For 28 years, I've had the incredible privilege of calling baseball my job and of waking up every day to be a part of something bigger than myself. At its core, baseball is more than wins and losses. It's about connection, shared purpose, and inspiring one another. I've seen how baseball brings people together, how it can lift a community, rally a city, and remind us all the power of team. With that privilege comes responsibility. Responsibility for sure. And as stewards of the game, we have a duty to leave baseball in a better place than we found it. We owe it to the next generation of players and fans to protect the legacy of this game and the value it represents. Thank you for this honor tonight.
They won 40 more games this year than last year. And that was the man who led the pitching staff. And I can't tell you half the guys that are pitchers on his team, but amazing, amazing. Proud of him. You're my new favorite inductee, by the way. So. Kevin Graber, come on up here. It's amazing how people connect with each other. And when we did the research on Kevin, it was amazing. But even more amazing is his life story. Kevin's a cancer survivor. He won the minor league AA championship with the Cubs last year. Deep South, right? Southern League. And now he left to go back to the place where he loved being, Phillips Academy, right? In Andover, Massachusetts. And it's his dream job. He loves coaching kids. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Graber.
Thanks, Rennie. Shortly after I was received the phone call to be inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, my wife Tina and I had lunch with Rennie at the recovery room. My new best friend. Everything you do for baseball in New York State, and this reception and the opportunity to honor us and our family and friends. Just thank you so much, Rennie. You're amazing. When my father at his burial, it was a military burial because he's in the Army in the Korean War. And at a military burial, they have members of the Army come and they play taps on a bugle. You know the song, right? And as they were playing taps, there was a hawk circling overhead. And my wife whispered in my ear and she said, "That's your father." And I said, "My father's not a bird." So fast forward to 2022, I was managing the Chicago Cubs AA affiliate Tennessee Smokies in the Southern League. And they hadn't won a championship in 45 years. The last year they won a championship was 1978, and the manager was Tony La Russa. So we ended up winning the second half. We made it into the playoffs. We swept Chattanooga in the first round, and we were up 2-0 on Pensacola, playing at Pensacola. And I was a little bit nervous. I wanted to wrap the Tennessee Smokies. They had chokies because of the tragic losses they playoffs. So I'm like, we got to get this done. So sure enough, we're in the championship game at Pensacola, packed house, 8,000 fans. First pitch is about to be thrown, and I look up in the sky, and I see a hawk circling overhead. And I was like, oh, man, we're going to win. And we did. We won 12-1, so it was a big deal. So I might not look it, but I'm 55 years old, and I'm still putting on a uniform, and I think that's why I'm here today. All my friends I grew up playing baseball with, at a certain point, they grew out of it. They stopped putting a baseball uniform on. I did not. St. Catherine of Siena Little League, although we didn't wear uniforms in St. Catherine of Siena Little League, we wore jeans and T-shirts. National League, I played for Trading Ports Supermarket. Central Babe Ruth, I played for Albany, right down the road in my hometown, Albany, New York. We won a state championship in 1986. North Albany Post 1610, Legion Baseball. We won 2 state championships, which was amazing. I played at Winthrop University College Baseball. I played at the College of St. Rose, RIP, College of St. Rose. I played for the Schenectady Mohawks, and I'm in the Amsterdam Mohawks Baseball Hall of Fame as well. I played for Heflin's Builders in the Albany Twilight League. I managed the Electric City Giants in the Mountains Collegiate Baseball League. I played for the Pine Rivers Rapids in Australia. I played for the Southern Minnesota Stars in the Prairie League of Professional Baseball. I then managed the Southern Minnesota Stars. I managed the Adirondack Lumberjacks in the Northeast League of Professional Baseball. I coached at the University of West Alabama. I coached for 8 years at Amherst College in Western Massachusetts. I was the head coach at Phillips Academy Andover in Massachusetts as well for 14 years. That's the alma mater of Bartlett Giamatti, who is the commissioner of Major League Baseball, the alma mater of President George H.W. Bush, the alma mater of Bill Veeck, and I could go on and on. It's like the Harvard or Yale of high schools. I coached the Bourne Braves in the Cape Cod League, I coached the New England Roughnecks Travel Ball Club. I coached the Tennessee Smokies, the Saratoga Phillies in the New York Collegiate Baseball League, and of course the Tennessee Smokies. And I worked big league spring training with the Chicago Cubs, where I have one career big league victory. I managed a minor league spring training game, and we beat the Chicago White Sox in front of 18,000 fans, which was really fun. It's been a really long road, though, as you can tell, and there's some crazy stories along the way. The craziest was when I was a senior in college at the College of St. Rose in 1992. I was with my mom visiting her in her kitchen, and I said, "Mom, I do not feel well. Like, I feel like I'm going to die. I don't know what's wrong." And the next day, we had a playoff game at Bleecker Stadium in Albany, New York, and I collapsed on the field. So I died on the baseball field. That's how much I love this game. I ended up in the emergency room at St. Peter's Hospital on Scotland Avenue in Albany, New York. They did a chest x-ray, and they discovered a grapefruit-sized tumor in my chest that was quite literally choking the life out of me. And I ended up in ICU, did a biopsy. The diagnosis was lymphoma, and it was not a good one. And instead of a traditional path into professional baseball, I had 6 months of chemotherapy, various surgeries, 3 months of radiation treatments. Upon being getting through treatments, I had a few more things that happened. I ended up back in the hospital with blood clots and all kinds of fun stuff. One thing happened is that the Times Union in Albany did an article on me, and a guy named Joe Villano read the article, and he liked my story. And I was 21 years old at the time, and he asked me if I would coach an American Legion team that his son was playing on. And I said, "How much does it pay?" And he said, "Nothing." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it." So I coached the Scotia White Sox to a district championship. I was 21 years old. My players were 18 and 19. I had no idea what I was doing. From there, I took a coaching job at Lassen College in Susanville, California, where Sween, one of my players, was Ryan Stoneberg, who's your strength and conditioning coach with the Kansas City Royals. He could tell you some stories about me. I drove 3,000 miles in a 1988 Plymouth Sundance from Albany, New York to Susanville, California, for a job that paid $1,500 for the year, my first paid coaching job, and I was happy to have it. From there, I started my own college summer league in the Mountains Collegiate Baseball League called the Electric City Giants. And what I did was I stole all the best players from the California junior college teams, and I brought them back and put them in my mom's basement in Albany, New York. And we won the Mountains Collegiate Baseball League with a team of California junior college all-stars. From there, I heard about a team in Australia in a league in which they were allowed 2 Americans per team, and apparently their shortstop had broken his leg. I heard about it. I sent them a fax. I said, "I'll be there next week." My mom paid for my passport. She bought me the plane ticket. I showed up sight unseen, and they could have saw me play and said, "You're not very good," and sent me home. Got off the plane, took batting practice, took infield, outfield. I was in the lineup that night. So I was back on the field as a player for the first time after surviving cancer and all those treatments. And then I had a working resume as a baseball player. From there, I signed with the Southern Minnesota Stars in the Prairie League of Professional Baseball. I played shortstop and second base. My teammates included Greg Olson, who was a catcher for the Atlanta Braves during the Smoltz, Avery, and Glavin years. Our closer was Juan Berenguer, Senior Smoke. Learned a lot from those guys. The summer after I played for them, a little something reappeared on my chest x-ray, which is really unfortunate. I wasn't back to square one, but such that I was back in the hospital, had part of my rib cage removed, and I tried to play again the next year in spring training, and I just couldn't do it. So they asked me if I wanted to manage. I was the youngest manager in all of professional baseball at the age of 26, and we went on to win our division. We first ever playoff appearance for the Southern Minnesota Stars, which was quite an experience. From there, I got a promotion. I hired on to manage the Adirondack Lumberjacks in the Northeast League of Professional Baseball. My salary was $16,000, and I had benefits. I'm like, I'm going to do this forever. I couldn't believe my good fortune. But you know the drill, 100 plus, independent ball. You don't know the next paycheck is coming. Tina and I were married at the time. We had Katie, our daughter, and I was either bound for divorce or the award for worst parent in the history of mankind. So I tapped out, and instead I moved Tina and Katie to Livingston, Alabama, where I took a job as an assistant coach at the University of West Alabama. From there, I ended up at Amherst College, where I was an assistant athletic director, coached baseball. I was a director of alumni and parent programs. I hit rich people up for money. And then I announced announced to Tina that I was having a bit of an early midlife crisis and I wanted to go back to school and get my graduate degree. So Tina and I and Kelly, Kyle, and Katie moved into a 22-story dorm with 575 students on the University of Massachusetts Amherst campus. We lived in the 5th floor residential apartment. I ran the dorm in exchange for tuition, room, and board, and I got my undergraduate degree in English, my graduate degree in English, and my graduate degree and my master's degree in education as well. Because our stipend was $14,000 for a family of 5. I painted dorm rooms. I worked the press box at basketball games. I did freelance writing. You name it, I did it because we just had to bring money into the family. But that's what you do when you have a goal and you want to get after it. From there, I ended up at Phillips Academy Andover. There I do a lot of different things. Senior Associate Director of Admission. I live in and run a dorm. So we live in a dorm with 15 boys because it's a boarding school with students from 50 states and 46 countries. I coach varsity baseball, of course. I'm an academic advisor. I teach a few classes. I do everything at that school. I chaperone everything under the sun. All the while in the summers, I've dragged my family to coach the Bourne Braves in the Cape Cod League. We were in Saratoga one summer coaching the Saratoga Phillies. When we lived in Ballston Spa, I found a rental cabin on Craigslist in Ballston Spa because we couldn't afford Saratoga. And then, of course, I ended up with the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs, I was the complex coordinator at our spring training facility in Arizona. I was elevated 2 weeks before spring training to field coordinator. You guys know what a big job that is. And then I was elevated to AA manager. And in the recovery room after, asked me how I ended up managing in AA. It's an amazing story. It's hilarious. But it requires a few beers. Along the way, I have friends who are from Albany, where I'm from, and they've said to me, "You're so lucky." Everybody calls me KG. "You're so lucky. How do you get all these opportunities? You're so lucky." I'm like, lucky? Shit. I go where the opportunities are. I don't see you going to Susanville, California. I didn't see your mom buying you a flight to freaking Australia to go play baseball. Lucky? No, we go where the opportunities are. But it can't happen without really supportive friends and really supportive family. My mom, first and foremost, I would not have survived cancer if it wasn't for my mother. She took me to every treatment, made sure I had the best care, advocated for me with all my doctors. She's the master of getting blood and dirt stains out of every uniforms. When I was managing in AA in the Southern League, winning that championship, my mom listened to every game on the internet, and I know that's a fact, so thank you, Mom. My wife, Tina, who's also from Albany. I mean, all the places I just mentioned, I drag Tina and my children with me. So, Tina, love you so much. Thank you for that. My mother and father-in-law, Mark and Pat, having your daughter and your grandchildren so far away from you. Thank you for tolerating that and not being too angry at me. I appreciate that. My older brothers and sisters, I'm the youngest of 6. So my sisters, my brother Ray and my sisters Kathy and Peggy and my brother Timmy and my brother Michael, all of whom are here today except for Ray couldn't make it. My sisters Kathy and Peggy tucked me in at night. They taught me how to read, and everybody threw batting practice in the front yard. A highlight for me is along the way I've gotten to coach with and gotten the opportunity to coach some amazing players. A few of the guys who have played for me at the high school level are here. CJ Agri. CJ, will you stand up, please? Sam Zager. Matt Hosman, stand up, please. Taylor Beckett, Ben Reinisch, Robert Brown, and one of my first coaches who got a shout out before, Tom Reinisch. Amazing. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up with one. I did mention Rennie at the onset. You did. I gave you 2 extra minutes. And that is that yesterday, driving through Grafton, coming down through Troy to check in at the Hilton Garden Inn last night. We're driving in the rental minivan, and a huge freaking hawk, like, just flies up onto a branch on a tree next to the road we were driving. I was like, oh, man, there's my dad. And we grew up watching the New York Yankees on WPIX 11 Alive. And in our living room, Rennie, there's a sliding glass door where I could see my reflection perfectly. And I used to watch Don Mattingly and Willie Randolph on the television, and I would turn around and imitate your batting stances on the reflection in that sliding glass door. Like, I had it perfectly. And my dad was the ultimate New York Yankees fan. I went back and read his obituary today, and like in the first paragraph, it says lifelong and diehard New York Yankees fan. He used to walk the Stewarts every day to get the New York Post and the Daily News just to keep up on the New York Yankees news. So my dad couldn't be here tonight. He passed away, but he would love this. So thank you guys very much. Thanks, Tony.
Kevin, you're my new favorite inductee. That's a story of courage, conviction. Proud of you, Kevin, and your family. Thank you so much for coming. I get some criticism, for the dinner sometimes, and mostly they say we had a great time, but it was too short. So we're trying to lengthen it out a little bit. So, right. We got, where are we going? We're here. Martha Jo Black, please come to the stage. Martha Jo Black is here representing her dad, Joe Black, who was the first African-American pitcher to win a World Series game. He was a star with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he had a road that he had to travel, the same road that Jackie Robinson traveled, and Don Newcomb and Campanella. So more than just a baseball player, Joe Black was a gentleman, respected off the field, and just a great human being. Martha.
Thank you so much, Rennie. I appreciate it. First and foremost, for all of you, and I know I don't have one on, but I tip my cap to all of you for being inducted into this Hall of Fame. So it is great. Again, I want to say thank you so much for inviting my father to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm very proud of that. My family, unfortunately, that are in New Jersey and not that far, could not make it to the event, but I'm very blessed to have my friend that I grew up with in Arizona to come with her family since she knew my father. First and foremost, as Rennie mentioned, my dad played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Rookie of the Year in 1952, first Black pitcher to win a World Series game. He was Jackie Robinson's roommate and friend. And to give you a funny story, which is also in my book that's out there, that when my dad got to Vero Beach, they were like, okay, you're going to go in this room. My dad's like, okay, all right, that's great. He goes, yeah, Jackie Robinson's your roommate. My dad was literally, and I can imitate my father. Right. I'll stay here. And so my dad stood there with his suitcase. Jackie walked in. Jackie's like, I'm Jackie. My dad's like, I'm Joe. He goes, nice to meet you. He goes, what bed are you going to take? He goes, you tell me what you want, and I will follow you. He goes, no, this is our room. We can do this. Jackie's like, no, we're together. My dad's like, all right. And he watched Jackie's eyes, and he went to the opposite bed. And it was kind of funny that my dad told me. So at that point, Jackie's like, all right, well, relax. He goes, can I ask you a question? My dad's like, yeah, ask me anything you want. I am proud. I am blessed. I am here just because you opened this door for me to get here. Jackie's like, so do you know how to fight? My dad's like, heck yeah, I know how to fight. He goes, all right, we're not going to fight because we have to do more than for us. This is for other people to get in this door. We have to use, we're college educated men. Jackie went to UCLA. My dad graduated from Morgan State. We're going to use our, see, okay. And so he's like, we have to do this for others. It's not just about us. My dad's like, okay. So when they call you names, ignore them because one, your mother loves you. Your wife, Doris, my brother's mom, he was born in 52. I'm not that old, for the record. She loves you, and this is a game we want to win at. And my dad had the great privilege of pitching the first game in the 1952 World Series against the New York Yankees. I am sorry, and I'm sorry Judge didn't get you there this year either because the Dodgers won. But with that being said, that my dad did win that game, which was a grateful night for him, and I'm very honored that I also happened to work with a young man that's in the room too, Josh Barfield, since we do work for it will be better than last year in 2025 in that sense. But again, I just want to say thank you. I'm very honored for this, and I hope everyone has a great night. And Rennie, I can definitely give you suggestions of people, and they are women that you can put in there because I think Sharon Robinson may not be in. So we can get Jackie's daughter here. All right. All right. Thank you again. Have a great evening. And I'm the shortest speech. I win. I win the shortest speech. That means I get a bottle of wine.
Martha Joe, you're my new favorite inductee. How great is that? Now I want to bring up Ted Green. Ted, please come to the stage. Ted Green did one of the two best documentaries I've ever seen. I don't mean sports documentaries. I mean documentaries. The other one, Lindsay Barra, It Ain't Over Till It's Over. Ted's documentary was about Carl Erskine, the best we've got. It's phenomenal. They are both multi-viewing documentaries you could see. He told Carl's story the way no one else ever could. He got to work with Carl before he passed. And Ted, it's really remarkable. And the time you put into this, it shows. And if anybody wants to buy a copy, I think Ted may have some, or Jim Denny may have some here. But I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful story. Elvira and I have watched it about 10 times, I think. We show it in the Hall of Fame Theater. So, Ted, congratulations.
Okay, I want to start, and I will try to get to that time limit. But Rennie, you do look awful sharp today. I want to point that out. I want to start with a thanks to Gary Erskine. He stood up earlier, and his wife Beth, for you guys to come all this way to represent the Erskine family and support me and my family. It's pretty overwhelming. And of course, thanks to Rennie and his team. Rennie, I'll never forget the day you called. I'm still a little flabbergasted by all this. The New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Not bad for a Wisconsin boy who couldn't hit a curveball to save his life, but actually kind of fitting. My previous film was about a Holocaust survivor named Eva Kor, and that led me to become the first non-Jew to be inducted into the Indiana Jewish Hall of Fame. I just figured they thought my name was Greenberg. But seriously, my baseball roots did indeed take seed in New York, in a suburb of Buffalo called Williamsville. All right. That's where my dad grew up in the 1940s, and that's where I spent through college at my grandmother's house. I had an uncle named David who was about 10 years older than me. He was an enormous baseball fan, an enormous Yankees fan, and so, of course, please forgive me, Carl, I became an enormous Yankees fan as well. But not just any Yankees fan. While the Yankees of my era, Reggie and Mickey and Thurman and all of them, while they were dominating the game in the late 1970s, I, at 10 years old, was already a history fan. And my preferred landscape was Yankee Stadium in the 1950s. I'd pore over my uncle's baseball cards, read and reread all of his old dog-eared baseball books, and dream of the halcyon days of my heroes, Mickey and Whitey, and yes, especially Yogi, winning year after year after year. And I detested those Brooklyn bums of Duke and Pee Wee, and yes, the self-proclaimed skinny kid from Anderson, Indiana, Carl Oysk Erskine. Funny how things change. Of course, a big thing that changes as we grow older, or one of them, is whom our heroes are. My hero is my Uncle David. David never made it to Yankee Stadium in his far too short life. In fact, he never made it farther from home than Utica. When he was about 18, right when I was really getting to know him, yet totally unknown to me, he contracted, which would lead to cancer. Cut short everything. Had to leave college early, never was able to have a wife or a family of his own, and never once complained about any of it. Instead, Christmas after Christmas, he hid his hurt and his broken dreams to make my young life Rockwellian, or maybe Ruthian. Only when I got older did I realize just how great David Marston Green himself was. God, I wish he could be here. He would be grinning ear to ear. So, David, I dedicate this honor to you. Another of my heroes, no surprise, is Carl Daniel Erskine. The best we've got, an Indiana governor once called him, and I stole that from my title. This has been a tough year for the Erskine family. Last fall, Carl and Betty's fourth child, Jimmy, who had Down syndrome, some of you may know him, he passed away. This was a young man who was expected to live at best. Instead, he reached 63, worked at Applebee's for 20 years, and competed in Special Olympics for 50. All because of the love and acceptance and commitment of his parents and siblings. And just a few months back, Jimmy and Gary's oldest sibling, Danny, also passed away after a long illness. In between, this past spring, Carl passed away at 97. He was the last of Roger Kahn's boys, and the hole he leaves in so many hearts is immense. So it's been a tough year, but Betty, Carl's bride of 76 years, carries on loving and feisty as ever. She recently turned 96 and couldn't be here today, but I'm sure she'll watch this on video at some point. And so I want to say, Betty, Jenny and I love you, and I dedicate this award to you. You who, along with Carl, gave me the greatest education in life. Also with us tonight, apparently he doesn't need much introduction, or at least again, is Jim Denny, my right-hand man on the documentary, here with his beautiful wife, Kayla. And likewise, my dear friend, Jeff Moeller, the president of Special Olympics Indiana, and one hell of a partner. Can't believe you came, brother. I can't believe you came. That's you. I'll tell you, Carl is indeed an Indiana boy through and through. Yet so many people from New York helped me tell the story. Bob Costas, who grew up in Commack. Bob got emotional, which is rare for him on camera, when he talked about Carl and Jackie Robinson and their legacy. Charlie Steiner. Charlie provided the narration for a song simply because he had such great memories of watching Carl at Ebbs Field and such great respect for all he did after that. Branch Rickey III, also born on Long Island. Branch is an orator in the style of his grandfather, and his words were so wonderful I gave him the final words of the film. I'll take the Erskine hero every day, Branch told me, and I agree. The late, great Vin Scully from the Bronx. We went out to LA early in the project to interview Vin, and he really wasn't feeling so hot that day. In fact, I was told later by his PR guy that this was the last sit-down on-camera interview that he ever gave. But according to him, he wanted to give it a try. Vin said so many magical things in his signature Vin Scully lyricism that at one point I went off-roading and asked, you know, of the thousands and thousands of players that you've covered, you know, you've interacted with in your 70-year career, who was the best human being? He thought on that for a second, and he said there were two. Carl Erskine and his Brooklyn Dodgers teammate, Gil Hodges. I'd call that a pretty good pairing. Finally, my guy, Jerry Reinsdorf, owner of the Chicago White Sox, who hails from Brooklyn. Now, had I known he hailed from Brooklyn, believe me, I would have asked him for money. But Jerry got wind of the Erskine film through his assistant, Martha Jo Black, who just spoke so eloquently. And so anyway, Jerry and Martha, they flew Jerry's private plane into tiny Anderson, Indiana, to attend the premiere of The Best We've Got, the Carl Erskine story. The next day, I might have been winding down a little at an Indianapolis watering hole when my phone rang and the ID said Jerry Reinsdorf. So I tried to pull myself together a little bit and went outside to answer, only to hear, "Ted, I didn't expect to like that film." And I'm thinking, okay, thanks. But I really did. And now I'd like to try to get Carl the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Will you help me? Yes, sir. And in the summer of 2023, my wife and I, and Gary and Beth and Jim and many others traveled to Cooperstown to celebrate what was truly the award of Carl's lifetime. And I'll tell you, it was like a fairy tale. So much help from New Yorkers, so many big baseball names, so many amazing things said about Carl. But the truth is, that all paled compared to the other part of the film. Because after I researched the baseball part of Carl's life, I started researching what would be the real guts of the film. The evolution of the treatment and acceptance of people like Jimmy Erskine with intellectual disabilities. And the Erskine's role in that evolution, Carl and Betty, not just in their hometown or home state, but nationwide. I'll leave what I learned for the film itself, but I'll tell you, it was life-changing. Fast forward to after the film came out, when we were touring the Special Olympics and Jeff's team all over Indiana and beyond for screenings. After each one, people would line up to talk to me about their favorite Carl memory, or maybe just to say thanks, you know, kind of the routine stuff you get. But invariably, I mean every time, at some point standing in front of me would be a parent, usually a mother, alongside a child with special needs. Shyly, this woman would ask me to thank Carl and Betty for it. I'd ask why, and she'd say, without them, this child ain't here today. Here are some more words from Vin Scully, speaking not at all about baseball. Carl is living a perfect game. Imagine my luck that I got to chronicle the man who lived the perfect game. Finally, if I can get through this, I'd like to dedicate this award to my hero of heroes, my beautiful wife, Jenny, who is sitting with our amazing twin daughters. We have a couple of grad students in town making others' lives better, and we couldn't be prouder. Jenny, the courage you've shown, your grace during the toughest of circumstances, I can't even begin to describe it. You are my heart. You are my everything. You inspire me every day to seek the goodness in others, to share it with the world, to celebrate the triumph of the human spirit. Because the greatest human I know is with me every day. Thanks again to Rennie and the New York Baseball Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the other inductees, and God bless.
Howard Johnson, come on up. Our next inductee is a native of Clearwater, Florida. He was drafted by the Detroit Tigers in the first round of the 1979 draft. His father, Bill, taught him to be a young age. He made his MLB debut in 1982 and enjoyed a 14-year career with the Tigers, Mets, Rockies, and Cubs. He's a two-time All-Star, a two-time World Series champion, a two-time Silver Slugger, and a member of the New York Mets Hall of Fame. A fine coaching career followed his playing days, during which he established and still holds several team and MLB records. One of the Mets' all-time greats, Howard Johnson. Welcome to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
Thank you. We got some Met fans in here. There we go. All right. Probably the last ring you'll see in a long time right here. Hey, I pull for him. Believe me, I do. And I want to ask Rennie if the walk from table 30 counts against my time. Just saying. No, I appreciate being inducted. I want to thank the New York State Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, for being up here. It's a great honor. I know all these guys. It's great to go and be inducted with your peers. Jesse Barfield, Donnie, Buck. I know all these guys. We played against each other. I think you caught my first at bat in the big leagues. I think you caught in right field. And this guy used to make furniture, and I still have one of his pieces in our baseball facility in Franklin, Tennessee. And that thing goes everywhere. The thing is indestructible. And Donnie, I think I was playing left field in '84, the last game of the year when you got 5 hits or 4 hits to win the batting title. And of course, Buck, I've known him a long time as well. We all had the same agent, Donnie and Buck and I, and it's cool. Yeah, Jim, Ray Schulte, awesome. But I don't want to take too long, but what I really want to say is this. You scared me right there. You got it. It's like, damn, that was quick. Ooh, he scared me. Oh, my Lord. He is the boss, you know. What's that? Yeah, but he was standing behind your back looking at your No, I learned a long time ago when I was a kid, really. My dad, he was a Navy guy, still alive. I give him all the credit in the world for teaching me how to play the game, teaching me how to switch hit when I was a little kid. And a couple of things he taught me really was the power of practice and the desire to practice. And that's something that you have to have if you want to be great at anything you do. You have to time it. And I hear all these guys up here talking about their journey and where different places they've been, coached, played, whatever. And we like to call it the grind. And so ball players, man, if you're going to be good at anything, you got to enjoy the grind of it. And the grind is not when you're swinging the bat great and you're going from town to town, you're getting 2 hits here and there, and team's doing winning, doing really good and stuff. The grind is when you're 0 for 4, 0 for 5. 0 for 10, 1 for 12, and you're thinking, am I good enough to play even at this level, whatever level that is? And so mentally, you go through this mental grind, and you wear out more mentally than you do physically, really, during a season. And that's something that I learned how to deal with because I enjoyed practice. And going through that practice grind really prepares you for the game. And if you want to be successful in anything you do, you've got to enjoy the grind of it. Because even in a business, you're not going to be successful, every quarter, you're not going to be successful like that. You have to work at it. You have to grind at it in order to be successful. And you build a foundation. And when you have that foundation, you're great. You end up being great when you look back on things. Because we stand up here, none of us thought that when we first started playing this game, and I saw you guys in the beginning, just like myself, that we would ever be in this position, basically talking to people in New York that we were in the Hall of Fame in the state. I mean, nobody thinks that. It just happens. You look back on your career and you have numbers. And when I saw myself run those bases, I would give my left, what to be. Believe me, I can hardly walk as it is. I want to be able to run the bases again. So I just want to thank you guys again. Rennie, thank you again for having me in the committee. Thank you guys for being here and supporting this organization. And I'm thrilled and very fortunate and lucky to be with these guys. I want to thank my family. Lastly, not that they are last, but they're number one. God is number one, and my family is number 2, or tie for first. And that's right. And so, they sacrifice a lot for us, wives, kids. We sacrifice for them, and they sacrifice for us. I think it's harder on them than it is on us. No question about it. But I'm grateful. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Howard, you're my new favorite inductee.
I knew he was going to say that. Okay. I think we all did. Jesse Barfield, Ray Negron, step on up, please. In the 1977 Major League Baseball draft, this inductee was selected by the Toronto Blue Jays in the 9th round. 4 years later, he made his MLB debut and would become a part of one of the greatest outfields in the history of baseball. Alongside George Bell and Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield amazed. They displayed power, speed, elite defensive prowess, and were together from 1984 to 1988. The accolades were all part and parcel. An award winner, the AL Home Run King in 1986. In 1982, Jesse Barfield was traded to the New York Yankees. Yes, go Yankees, where he would spend the next 4 seasons and was recognized as the best right fielder in Major League Baseball at the time. We love seeing him at the Yankees Old Timers Day festivities, always. Once a Yankee, always a Yankee. And now a forever member of the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. To officially induct Jesse, let us welcome New York Yankees Special Assistant and New York Times best-selling author, Ray Negron.
First off, a message from Randy Levine, the president of the New York Yankees. He wants to congratulate Don Mattingly, Buck Showalter, Yogi, and of course my man Jesse Barfield. That's number one. I better do what the boss says. Number two, in life, and I learned this from this man, there is a God. People, there is a God, and life is very, very short. The great Don Mattingly, in 1982, George Steinbrenner says, I have a special kid and I need for you to drive him to the airport. You remember that? Okay. In the drive to the airport, everybody was making a big deal about this young man at the time. When we were in the car, all he talked about was me. He wanted to know about me. He made me feel like I was somebody. And you have no idea, I come from a home with 7 boys, and they're all dead, except for me. Stop. Thank you for that. You helped me live. That being said, I needed to understand that. Who do I meet? Jesse Barfield. I did him a favor. I sent him to Japan one year. Okay? After his Yankee career was over. He played for the Tokyo Yomiuri Giants. I had a contact with the owner, and we worked it out. I was almost homeless. Marla, am I right? Out of nowhere, like my wife was saying, we got to find a home. We got to find a home. Because I had done that for this young gentleman. All of a sudden, the mailman comes, and there's a check. And with that check, I was able to buy a home. "30 years later, I still have that home. I'll never sell that home. I mean, my kids may, but I know that I won't. And on the head of my bed, like my wife says, why do you look at that letter every day? And I say, because the letter is from Jesse and Marla, and they gave me permission to have this home with my children who have grown up to be great people, police officers, two of them, and the other one was a light heavyweight champion, and that was because of them, the Barfields. Okay? Look at that boy. Look. Stand up, please, his son. Stand up, his son. Stand up. I mean, this. So, thank you for the honor of me being able to say thank you to this man, because I've been waiting for 30 years to really say it right. Thank you, Jesse. I love you.
Thank you for those kind words, Ray. I had to rush out real quick to go to the men's room. You know, I didn't realize there was a long line. I didn't know. So I asked the guys, I said, hey, do you mind if I cut in? Because I don't know when I'm speaking. So I get in there and guys, oh, go ahead, Jesse. I get in there and something happened that I'd never seen before. And this gentleman goes, hey, well, matter of fact, where is he? Stand up. You know who I'm talking about? Yes. Where is he? Worst crime in America, black on black. You better erase that photo. No, I'm just joking. Anytime. Everything was good. It was above board. Oh my goodness. That was fun. I never had that happen before. Wow. To my fellow inductees, you guys deserve it. And I'm very happy and proud of you guys. I have not seen the great since I left New York. I saw the elevator and I'm like, wow, I was speechless. I'm like, that's Don Mattingly, man. I got to play with one of the best, not just players, people in the game. Great teammate. I go to New York, I get traded for Al Leiter, and I walk up to home plate against Mark Gubicza. I faced Mark before, nasty sinker, slider, and he left one up a little bit, and I lined it over the shortstop's head for my first hit, my first Yankee at bat. And the crowd went crazy. I'm like, dang, it's only a single. What's going on here? Now, I went over, I think, my next 24, 25. And I'm scuffling, and I'm not striking. Hey, you make it out, you leave 5 runners on base. The fans don't appreciate that. And, you know, covering from his back injury and the grind. I get the grind because that guy never stopped working. I'm like, this is amazing. And he came up to me in the dugout one night. I don't even know if you remember this. You know, the fans, they'll let you know. They'll boo you. And Donnie looked at me and said, hey, man, they're booing me right now. You need to step it up because they're going to boo the crap out of you. You better start hitting. Well, needless to say, that woke me up because you're right. If they boo you, I got no chance. Oh, man. I remember during that stretch, I asked our batting coach, Hondo, rest his soul, and I said, Hondo, man, I need to hit tomorrow. Can I come out and hit Frank Howard? Sure, check the list. I'll get you in. So I'm walking out, and I checked the list. Donnie Smalls that night. I mean, he was coming back. So I looked at the list walking out, and Don Mattingly's on it. So I go to him and say, hey, man, you hitting early tomorrow? He goes, yeah. In my second at bat, you know his stance. Second at bat, third pitch, something didn't feel right. I'm like, God, that's incredible. The guy's that in tune to his body. Second, I can't even remember what I did in the third pitch of the fourth at bat. But the grind, he worked hard. He really did what he had to do to be the player that he was. And I'll tell you, he belongs in Cooperstown, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
We're in the outfield one day, and Deion Sanders is struggling bad. Roberto Kelly was out there doing a pitching change. And, you try to console your teammates, Deion goes, I said, man, be positive. You're gonna come out of this. Keep working, man. Roberto tried, goes, man, I'm going to quit. I said, dude, you got a lot of at-bats left. Roberto goes, you can't quit. He said, I'm a grown age man. I can quit if I want to quit. He said, not with that 162 batting average on your batting card. He said, you got to get that batting average up before you quit. That's terrible. And so, I'm looking at him laughing. I had to run out to right field, looking back, laughing. But, that's the one thing I miss about this game, the way we keep laughter in it. And that's huge because you're going to go 0 for a lot in this game. I remember my nephew, Jacob, got family here. Jacob asked Josh after his first year in pro ball and rookie ball. He goes, Josh, how many outs did you make? He said, in pro ball? He goes, yeah, how many outs did you make this year? And he told him, he said, man, you made that many outs? And he batted .310. Jacob goes, you're not good, are you? So he said, Jacob, this game is hard. It's not that easy. It's not high school ball. This is professional ball. And, Yogi Berra, how are you? Love you guys. Your dad, wow, your grandfather was so kind. Old Timers Day, we would come in there and sit in the locker room and talk for a few minutes with him. And he'd always ask about, Bart, how the boys doing, Bart? I said, they're doing good. No. Give me some numbers. Oh, that's good. That's good. But he was always kind. And I never would forget that. And, to be in the same locker room with Yogi Berra, although it was Old Timers Day, was awesome because he took the time to talk to us. He took the time and he'd always ask about our family. So I know for a fact he's smiling down on us right now. He loves you guys. I know that. We opened up the new stadium in 2009. The old Yankee Stadium had shallow stairs. The new stadium, wow. So we go out alphabetical order. Rich Arroyo, who was like 103 at the time. And then Yogi Berra. And then I'm trying to hold everybody up. I'm acting like I'm hugging these guys because if they go down, the domino effect, we're in trouble. So I'm holding the camera guy was right here. He goes, okay, after the commercial break, we're going to go out and line the field. We knew what we had to do. And, okay, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm good. My arms are killing me. So I'm holding these guys up and we walk out. And we had a great time. And Yogi asked me, do I like hot dogs? You like hot dogs, Bar? I said, yeah, Yogi, I like hot dogs. And I thought we were finished. What do you like on your hot dogs, Bar? Oh, that's amazing. Whatever popped up and he know this better than me, he would tell you about it. He would just say it. I love the guy. But this is a great honor for me to be inducted. And I know how you guys feel. It took a lot of discipline, dedication, determination, and making the right decisions. I always tell people, I call that the 4 Ds. And whether you're going through a horrible batting stand, a slump, or you just tearing the cover off the ball, you have to have a unique, consistent routine no matter what. And one thing about this game, someone said it earlier, it will humble you real fast. But the thing I missed the most was the locker room. We had so much fun in the locker room. And they talk about the lean years of the Yankees. Yeah, we had some lean years, but I can tell you what, they had to get their sleep to pitch to us because we did some damage too. So it wasn't as bad as they portrayed it to be. But you know what? It's all about winning a ring, and I get that. I'm not upset at anybody. I had 4 of my best years, although I was injured a year and a half. I had 4 of my best years in my life, and I have some great lifelong friends in New York. Ray, all you guys have impacted our lives as well. We appreciate you, all the positiveness. And I just want to leave you with this. But I do want to tell this one story first. I'm a Blue Jay. I wasn't actually I take that back. That was a different one. I was a Yankee at the time. We're in Milwaukee. And I'm always trying to be gracious to the fans. And this gentleman comes up to me, "Can I have your autograph?" I said, "Sure, no problem." My wife was with me. And so I try to put a few stats on there for him and a nice autograph. One gentleman told me my autograph used to suck when I played. It's better now. I don't remember that, but I thought it was decent. And so I signed the autograph. And he looked at me, he goes, "Jesse Barfield?" He said, "Man, I thought you were Billy D. Williams." Wow. Billy D. Williams. Wow. That dude he was suave, smooth, good looking. And if they did a movie about me, I would love for him to play it. But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. Billy D. Williams. We're at Fenway Park, and I wasn't even a Yankee yet. I was a Blue Jay. And I heard someone talk about Dwight Evans, how great of an outfielder he was, and he was. As a matter of fact, I patterned my footwork after him. Dewey was amazing. He got to it, got rid of it quick with something on it. And you know how the bullpen is behind in right field. The visiting bullpen is down the right field line, almost center field. Right center is the Boston Red Sox bullpen. So I'm getting loose. Bullpen, one of the guys in the bullpen is getting me loose in between innings. So I get out there and they close the gate and I get down in my stand. And this one Red Sox fan to my left goes, "Hey, Barfield, you suck." That doesn't bother me. I'm from Joliet. We can handle it. So I go, "I suck." He goes, "Yeah, you suck. Evans is the best right fielder in the game. You're an imposter." I said, "Okay." Next time up, homer to right. Not the pesky pole, right. So I come back out, close the gate, got in my stance, looked at him. He said, "Yeah, you still suck, Barfield." I said, "Okay. All right." We got two more runners on base, McGriff and George Bell. Those guys can rake. Wow, they can rake. And you know where the camera bay is at center field? Where the camera sits? Forget about that. You know that tower next to it? That one went through the lights, over the light tower. So I come back out, close the gate. The guy looks over, I'm looking at him, and he's giving me the side eye. He don't want to turn towards me. I said, "Hey man, do I still suck?" The score was 9-2 at that time. This was '86 when the ball was that big. It was that big with the Yankees, but in Toronto it was that big. So I sit back and think about some of the stuff that happens on the field and in the clubhouse. That's what I miss the most. And I can't relive that. Like Hojo said, he'd give his left. No, I'm not giving that up. But maybe like Adam, I'll give up a rib maybe, but no, gotta have that. Love you guys. Thanks for having me. Rennie, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
So good. Okay. Buck Showalter. Here we go. Our next inductee is one of my most favorite people in all of baseball, and I do know I am not alone in that. His professional journey began when he was chosen by the New York Yankees in the 5th round of the 1977 MLB draft. He spent 7 seasons in the Yankees minor league system, rising to the AAA level, but but his Showtime moments would come as a manager. He was hired to skipper the single-A minor league Oneonta Yankees of the New York Penn League in 1985. In 1989, he managed the Double-A Albany Colony Yankees of the Eastern League. Yes. In 1990, he was promoted to the major league coaching staff of the New York Yankees and would ascend to take the helm as the team's manager in 1992. From 1998 to 2000, he would manage the expansion Arizona Diamondbacks in their first years of existence. Then it was on to Texas, the Baltimore Orioles, and the New York Mets, collecting 4 Manager of the Year awards along the way. And let us also highlight his exemplary broadcasting skills. He is pretty cool to work with. A baseball man in the highest definition. We are so proud to welcome William Nathaniel Buck Showalter III into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
Dang. Hey, Jesse, he took a picture of me too. From the waist up. I think about going back again. No, I'll tell you, it's so great to see a lot of friends. My wife helped me with evaluation along the way. We've been married 41 years. She's here tonight, Angela, with me. Evaluating players and getting the right guys are so important. But she said something to me, and I learned it through the years, that good women don't hang around bad men. And when they want to check out this Barfield guy, because his wife's pretty special, Marla, and it's great to see you again. And through the years, I've followed that tenet. And it kind of comes back to you down the road, because I don't know what they said about me when that happened, Angela. But I do want to acknowledge Jim Krivax. You heard it earlier from Hojo and Donnie. Jimmy was one of those guys as representative players. I was his first client that you never read anything about him. All he wanted to do was do the right thing ethically, morally, and only wanted to represent certain people that represented the way that he could feel comfortable with confidence of supporting you. And Jim, I appreciate your guidance and advice along the way. You've done a lot to a lot of people. And I gave him all his clients. I said, you might want to think about signing this Mattingly guy. And I played against this guy named Howard Johnson in Birmingham. He's pretty good too. There's a guy named McGriff, and there's a guy named Harold Reynolds. I can keep going. He had some, we like to call us your stable, Jim. We were your stable. But thanks for being here. And all my friends from college showed up. If I'd known you were coming, I would have sent you an invitation. Because I'm going to pay for it down the road, I guarantee you. Oh, I don't know. What else want to go? I was going to just come up here and drop the mic and go there, Randy. I went. And I guarantee you all have been real happy with me. And I'm almost there. But it is a humbling experience anytime you're asked to join a group like you have. And I just want to tell you, it's all relevant. It really is. I can remember every pitch to my high school state championship. Came from a little 1A public school in Northwest Florida. My dad was the principal. I couldn't get away with anything. We graduated 48 people. You had to hustle for a prom date, I'm telling you. But whether it's high school or whether it's league or whether it's New York State, all these people that have come up here and talk, it's relevant. It is. Whether you're on a stage where people are watching on TV at Yankee Stadium, or whether you're doing it where nobody can see you, it still matters. And you're still impacting people's lives along the way. And like Jesse said, that's what you miss. You miss that being part of a team and pulling on the same rope in a direction. It's not only, but just in sports in general. I got to see Lindsay, who I've known through the years, Berra. And I'll never forget, you got to understand, I grew up idolizing Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra. And I remember looking at a stat. We've heard a lot of stats about Yogi and everything, but the one that jumped out at me the most was that one year he had over 700 plate appearances. 700. He struck out 12 times. all year. I mean, these guys are striking out 12 times in 3 days. Jesse, I've seen it. I've seen it, Jess. And Jess had a great, he says, my contact to damage ratio is real good. I remember that. But think about that. And all I could think about, man, well, I like to hit and run with him if I was managing him. But Yogi, you know, I'll never forget my first Old Timers game as a Yankee manager. I'm in my office at Old Yankee Stadium and knock on the door, and Mickey Mantle walks in. Now, I used to sit in front of the TV watching Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese and a Blue Darter. First time I asked my mother what an old Falstaff beer was. But Mickey Mantle walks in. He goes, hey, can I dress in here? They just won't leave me alone out here for the Old Timers game. I said, yeah. Sure. And the next thing you know, here comes Yogi. He comes walking in, and he says, hey, Mick, you going to hide back here? I think I'll come back here, too, and get dressed. I got these two guys in my office. The next thing I look up, and they're both buttoned. I called my wife, and I said, I have made it. And I did not get a picture. I didn't get a picture. If I could have got that picture, I could have made a lot of money. I don't know. But let's see if I got anything else I was going to tell y'all about it. The 12 home runs thing just locked me up. But I got my roommate, met him in 1975 in junior college. And I signed 2 contracts when I signed with the Yankees. One with the Yankees, one with my parents, that I would go back and finish up my degree in the off season, which I did. But Russell's one that made me get up and go to class. I said, I think I'm going to take a day off. No, let's go. You know, you got to keep this scholarship. You got to do more than hit a little bit. You got to go. But I appreciate you all those years saying you got to go. But, you know, friends are people that know all about you and still like you. And he knows all about me, and we still talk. And Donnie and Scott and your wives, it's special to have you here, and I apologize for sending the invitation. So, I don't know, but through the years, and I do, you know, being a part of the Yankee organization for 19 years, and you never heard me say something negative about Mr. Steinbrenner. You know, you knew the job description going in, and fans didn't want to hear you complain about it. You know, I got a 1-year press conference. What kind of plan are we on? So we're on a 1-year plan. You know, and I got a chance every day to try to, and it broke my heart when I had to leave. And, but, you know, through the years, though, I learned we shared a love for the Yankees and trying to compete. He was legendary about calling the dugout. He only called me once. He called me, we were playing Cleveland Indians, and Dennis Martinez was pitching on an ESPN game. I'll never forget, Joe Morgan's doing the play-by-play, and Dennis Martinez was known for substance on the ball that would make it do things that made it hard to hit. How's that? You know, yeah, you're trying to hit the dry side most of the time. So, you know, he's cutting us up, but we got Bob Wickman going on the mound for us, and we're ahead 3-1 in the 7th or 8th inning, I forget. And Bobby had the tip of his finger cut off in a dairy accident. And I used to tell everybody that's what made his ball sink so much. Well, Bobby could sweat in an ice. He was from Wisconsin, and all he had to do was wipe the sweat and bottom ball out of it. So we got quite an affair going on with these two guys back and forth. Of course, Joe Morgan's telling the whole world that Dennis Martinez is cheating. Well, I know he's cheating, but, you know, Bobby is too. So I'm sitting there, and sure enough, the phone rings because Mr. Steinbrenner's listening to the game on TV. And Gene Monahan, the trainer, stood up, and all of a sudden I see him stick it out like this. And I swear, he would call my room. If I kept back to the hotel room, if the light was going, boo, boo, that's my wife. I need to call her back. But that light would go, boo, 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 boo. That was Mr. Steinbrenner. So Gene keeps going like this, and I go, no. He kept going like this, and I'm going to get Gene fired. So I go over there. Ray, don't tell anybody this story now. And he goes, you got to be the dumbest blank. You got to understand, he never said hello on the phone, and he never said goodbye. Right, Ray? It was start talking and click, he's done with you. And it's okay. So you got to be the dumbest blind in the country. The whole world, the whole country knows this guy's cheating. They're talking about it on TV, and you're over there with your thumb somewhere and whatever. And I keep waiting, Mr. Sumner, are you done? What are you going to do about it? I go, who's pitching for us tonight? He goes, I know who's pitching for us, Bob Wickman. And I don't know what's gotten him tonight. He's actually got somebody out. And I said, well, Mr. Steinmer, you got to understand something about Bob. He's cheating better than their guy's cheating. What? I said, yeah, he's got it going on too. I said, what do you want me to do? He goes, handle it. Just handle it. Bang. He was gone. So that was part of the job description as you got into it. You took it to a point. If you didn't like it, you did something else. But this place tonight, and I know everybody has somebody here that's meant a lot to them, and I commend you for all taking time to say hello to them. And whether it's a high school state championship or whether it's going to the New York State Hall of Fame, getting a humbling chance to manage the New York Yankees and being a part of New York State athletics. I counted up today, 25 years. 25 years I got to earn a living in baseball. You kidding me? They paid me for this stuff. I started out making $13,000 a year my first year coaching. My first year managing the Yankees, I think it was $175. They were paying me. And living in New York City, that was barely breaking even. Right, Aunt? God bless all of you. Thanks for having me. See you.
Our next inductee is a legend in every sense of the word, a brilliant baseball player, coach, and manager. The mere mention of his name brings an instant smile ear to ear. How can it not? He's a national treasure, the author of witticisms that garnered their own title. Yogiisms are part of pop culture. This is a very special moment tonight. Let us call up Mr. Don Mattingly to induct Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Berra family, Don Mattingly, come on up.
Okay, this is an honor for me. When I learned that I was going to be able to be the one that introduces Yogi, it was just like, for me, it's like, well, the first question was, Yogi's not in yet. What happened? But I found out tonight from Rennie, and I mentioned his name, right? I would have given those 2 minutes to Buck. He's a great speaker, so I could have given those 2 minutes to him politically. But Peter Lawrence Berra, and I watched the video, right? So they're talking about him the whole time. Everything that I've looked at, read, these guys have heard tonight. So there's not a lot that you don't know about Yogi. It's easier for me to talk about him from a personal standpoint. But one of the couple of things they didn't mention, that he was a Purple Heart winner. And they never talk about that. They talk about the baseball. And a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was another, quite an honor. I got to get my phone right here because I wrote this down, or kind of put it on my notes. And Buck talked a little bit about Yogi's strikeouts. And someone else mentioned Yogi about being the best catcher. I think it was Randy, about the best catcher in the game. So as I'm looking up Yogi and reading, it takes like 20 minutes to read through all the stuff that he's been through and done from the Learning Center, everything that he's been a part of. And I happened to be in New York yesterday, was with Johnny Bench at the Gold Glove dinners. And so I look up Johnny and I think they were just about the same amount of at-bats. I think it's maybe 100 difference. Johnny may have 100 more. I think Johnny struck out like 1,700 times and Yogi struck out like 400 times, 400 and something times in his career. What you got all the numbers right. So Yogi, I think maybe more homers, more RBIs, two great men, great people. So I don't want to downplay Johnny, but it's hard to argue maybe the greatest catcher the game has ever known. So personally, for me, Yogi is probably, I shouldn't say probably, is the best person that I've ever met in the game. The way he treats people, Jesse will know, you get around Yogi, he treats you like no matter who you are, if you're the guy that's opening the door for the locker room or the guy that's taking care of the field, Yogi treats everyone the same. So Yogi was that type of person to me. Met him in Double-A, playing with Buck. I don't want to go too far because I think I got to talk again. So I don't want to waste my time. So got to meet Yogi there. But I remember going to, so the Yogi-isms, right? You hear all these things that Yogi said or didn't say. So we're in spring training. I'm back as like a special assistant for Joe Torre. He's got me following Nick Johnson around. He goes, hey, wherever Nick goes, you go. So I go, great. He's a rookie and he's going to every game. So I'm on every trip. And we go to Bradenton. So we get back after the traffic. You're getting back in Tampa about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And Yogi was there early in the day. We come back and Yogi's still there. I said, Yogi, you've been here all day? He goes, yeah, it would have been all day at the hotel too. My honor to introduce Lindsey and Larry Baer.
All right. First, I want to congratulate all the inductees, and it's great to see people. I'm an older guy, so I watched all you guys play, and I watched Buck manage, and the Erskine family and the Joe Black family, I feel bad because Dad's got a lot of those rings at their expense. But and the other thing is, I don't know if you know this, but my father, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. His Hall of Fame speech, he thanked his mother and father, baseball, and his whole family in 57 seconds. So you have nothing to worry about from my end of it. My father would usually come to these dinners and he would say 3 words. He would first say, thanks for making this night necessary. And then he would start to cry. And he would never get through his speech because he never understood why people felt the way they did about him. For years, we tried to tell him, I said, Dad, you don't realize that just a wave or a hello made a person's day, a month, a year. I travel around the country and I hear my guys my age also, your father was the best. And I said, where are you from? He goes, Cleveland, Detroit. And I go, friend, they used to beat the crap out of you. And he goes, yeah, but he says, he beat us with respect. He never bragged about it. He just did his thing. And his whole life was being so humble, and all he cared about was playing baseball. And that was his whole life. He would, his family and baseball. And I said, why did you play baseball? Why did you want to do that? And he goes, because I didn't have to work. And that was his answer. So I'm going to leave you with everything else has been said. As Don said, everybody said all his accolades, his statistics and everything. So I'm going to leave you with that and just say that baseball, what this dinner is about, is what drove my father. And because of baseball, it made him the man that he was. And I'm now going to turn it over to my daughter. She's going to tell you about the museum. But and we had a documentary out, and I used to be Yogi's oldest son. Now I'm Lindsey's father.
Don't leave. Don't leave. Stay here. I
I actually like wrote a speech, but people have said everything that I've written down, so like I'm not going to say anything. It was who said that about the at-bats? It was 656 plate appearances, 597 at-bats. He hit 322, 28 home runs, and struck out 12 times. It's totally crazy. He's got a bunch of records that I still think will never be broken. The 1,430 RBIs by a catcher, I think, is pretty amazing. Still has World Series records that I don't think will ever be broken. And I'm really biased, but yes, I do think that he was the greatest catcher in the history of the game. People would start talking about Johnny Bench and the strikeouts, just like like Donnie did, and my grandmother would be like, "Shh, that's not polite." He did a lot of great things. But Grandpa, he had that way about him that like everybody loved him. So many people come up to us and say, "I never met your grandfather, but he meant this to me. He inspired me. He touched my life in some way." And I think it's just because he was just such a everyman kind of guy, and there was something about his life that everyone could identify with. He was a first-generation Italian immigrant. He volunteered to serve in the Navy in World War II before he had a chance to be drafted. He was playing in Norfolk for the Tars, and he literally walked over to the naval base and enlisted with a pro contract in his hand, and he ends up as a machine gunner off of Omaha Beach on an LCSS, providing cover fire for our troops going ashore in the D-Day invasion. I say a lot that I don't know that he would have looked at it this way, but when you go through an actual life and death situation, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded, that's not pressure. He looked at that as opportunity. How many of these guys can I drive in, and did it better than anybody when the chips were down? Grammy used to tell us that there was a story about them driving in the car, and he said that something about if I had really tried, in the early innings, I would have been a lot better than I was. And he just didn't care about playing when the game wasn't on the line. It's crazy. But as great as he was as a ball player, he really was a better human being. Like Donnie said, it didn't matter if you were like his grandkid, the UPS guy, a waiter, and many presidents of the United States that I had a chance to interact with. He treated everybody the same. He was the absolute best at what he did without ever for a moment thinking he was better than anybody else. And we have the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center on the campus of Montclair State University in New Jersey. If anyone wants to come, look me up. I'll give you a tour. I mean that. I like talking about him because I want people to remember him for the player that he was and the human being that he was. But we tell all kids who come, like, you can look at all this stuff that's here. We've got all 27 Yankees World Series rings and Grandpa's MVP plaques and gloves and jerseys and yada yada. But his real legacy is in the way he treated people. He didn't know how to not be good. And I tell all the kids, it's a really high bar. Like every day I feel like I'll never reach that bar. You let him down in some way. But I tell the kids, if you just try to do a little better, to be a little bit better every day, that's his legacy. His legacy is in that effort, in the way we try to do better and for ourselves every day. And I'm going to stop talking before I start crying. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. He would love this. He would love talking to all you coaches over here about baseball at every level. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Berra family. Well, we all have a favorite player, and we've all heard the phrase, a pro's pro. How about a favorite's favorite? The next man is a baseball beacon. A native of Evansville, Indiana, the New York Yankees came upon the good fortune of him being available in the 19th round of the 1979 draft. He made his MLB debut in 1982, and a legend had begun. Like Yogi, so many accolades, so I will let the pertinent people tell the stories. Let us bring Mr. Buck Showalter to the stage to do the honors and induct Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I said, boy, I could say some things about Don. This is a little, yeah, I'm excited. Donnie did so much for my career because when I saw him the first time, I said, you are not going to be the first baseman / left fielder for the New York Yankees. And he made me get on with my life because I knew once I saw him. And the thing about Donnie, you always felt like he could take his and beat yours and then take yours and beat his. And when I'm looking at players, I always would go, do they make their teammates better? Donnie made his teammates better just because he was a guy that you wanted to please as a teammate. Didn't mean, and he was like E.F. Hutton. When he would speak, people would listen, but he realized the weight that his words carried, and he was picky about when he turned them loose. But when he did, and he could get things done with one sentence more than I could. I remember we had a guy hit a home run one time and peel out and high-five somebody in our dugout, and we knew we were going to catch grief from George, and I knew I was going to have to make a little stand when I got there, and Donnie said, I got it. Do you mind if I handle this? Oh, yeah. And it never happened again. Just little things that I think still resonate with the Yankee organization. What turned around was when everybody started following his lead. And I meant that. People started going, Paul O'Neill talks about it. Bernie Williams talked about it. And he impacted other people's careers and made them want to play like him and please him. And I'll never forget the first time I saw this necked kid from Evansville. He was like kind of skinny and gangly, and the single A rookie manager asked him why. He asked the manager, he says, at 19, he goes, why am I not playing against a left-handed pitcher? He says, well, we're going to platoon you left-handed. Donnie goes, so? What difference does it make if he's left or right-handed? And he took that all these big leagues. I remember before, and years later, I thought about that. Randy Johnson we're getting ready to face, and Donnie used to come in. Donnie hit 300 off Randy. It might have been 400. It was unbelievable. Left-handed hitters didn't do that. Now, he'll tell you it wasn't a big damage, but he put it in play, and it drove Randy Johnson crazy. But he'd come in my office before every time we were getting ready to face him the night before. Hey, am I playing tomorrow? Yeah, Donnie, I'm trying to keep my job. Yeah, you're playing tomorrow. And he goes, okay. So finally one day I said, what do you do that? Why do you tell me that? And he asked me, he goes, well, all night in front of the mirror, and the next thing I'm keeping my shoulder in, because I know that people want to bail on that slider. Keep my shoulder in. So Randy didn't like Donnie, especially for that reason, and he threw a ball right over his head about the first at bat, like right at his coconut. Donnie came in and said, hey, Buck, he says, remember all that preparation, all that stuff I said? He goes, just went to shit. And he was right, but he was very honest and frank, but I've had great respect for through the years, the way he's carried himself. I always wondered, I'm big about scouting. First time I met his mom and dad in Nashville, Tennessee, and his dad was a strong, look you in the eye, kind of, just a quiet kind of, but when I met his mother, I went, oh my gosh. She had these big, strong forearms. She had thick wrists. And it was, it was a competitive situation, just eyeballing her. And I got to thinking through years, I said, look at the stock this guy came from. And I've never told Donnie that. I remember the first time I saw her. So through the years, I've not only looked at the father, but the mother when I'm evaluating players. And I owe that to Donnie too. But I'm going to quit embarrassing him right now. But more than anything, I got the great honor of having a great seat to watch him play. He cared about running the bases, good a base runner as you want to see, cared about defending. And actually, the thing that separates first baseman from being an average first baseman to great first baseman is their ability to throw. And Donnie had great imagination defensively, but he worked at it. And it's an honor to be asked to even be on the same stage with him. So God bless everybody. Here's Donnie.
Buck, thank you. I got some stuff for you later. Just want to congratulate everyone that's been inducted tonight. It's truly, for me, an honor. I feel like I have been blessed for sure in my life. From Buck talked about, I had great parents, good mentors along the way, all that. So I have been truly blessed and thankful for things that have happened to me and been given to me, and most of it is through baseball. So I'm very appreciative. A couple of things. Mrs. Lucas Allison, Ed was a special guy from the standpoint he would tell me he knew when I was swinging the bat good because he could hear it, which was really cool. And then listening to you speak, they say that behind every man is a woman, and you can see why Ed had all the success that he's had. And I'm going to slip that right into my wife, Lori, here, who's been a rock for me. And Lori, please stand up just for a second. She hates this, but I'm going to do it. As beautiful as she is on the outside, I'm telling you, it's the same on the inside. It is something special. So thank you, girl. What else I got? Mr. Dalton, the umpire. Where's he at? Over here. Did you see the stance? Those kind of guys usually are pitchers, umpires. Everything in between the arms is a strike. And so the pitchers here would love you. I'm telling you. James Ferrantino, awesome tonight. He helped us with our foundation at home. We have a foundation that helps underserved kids from education through social development and athletics. James did a print for us that was beautiful, helped us raise money, and hearing all the good things that you do, James, it's a pleasure. I love your work. It's beautiful stuff. So thank you. Is my man Dom Scala still here? I heard his name a lot. Did Dom stay? Dom taught me how to talk New York. How you doing? How you doing? Good. How you doing? So I was like, okay, now I know how to speak New York. Come from Indiana. This accent, it's kind of tough. So, Mr. Curtis, where's Mr. Curtis? Man, I wanted to play, dude. Listen to you. I want to play for you. No doubt. No doubt. But then it took me kind of full circle. I got a little excited and my hammy started hurting a little bit probably from that. But it's like coming to upstate is really cool for me. It seriously feels a little bit full circle. 45 years ago, flying on Butler Aviation, probably a 2-seat plane flying into Oneonta, New York. I remember getting off that plane. They picked me up, took me to a house that was empty, no lights, didn't know anyone. It was dark, and man, I was homesick. I was like, holy sh! You know what? Met a friend the next day, and that was over. The homesick was done. But and now being able to come back here, it's like coming home. And I've told a lot of people, obviously I've played my whole career in New York, was able to coach, but have moved on, went through LA, Miami, now Toronto. But any time that I have come back to New York, I always feel like I'm coming home. And I'm grateful for that and grateful for all of you because you were part of that. You've always made me feel comfortable. And I love playing in New York. I love playing for the fans. I think they're tough. They make you work. They do not allow you to rest. If you have I remember when I'm driving in 120 runs or something, I leave a guy on third, and on the way to your car, you got to walk through the stands, and the guy goes, "You left the guy on third, Mattingly." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did. You're right." So, man, and Brian Sweeney, wow, what a speaker! I could see Buck's face. He's thinking, "I'm going to manage him one day." Sweeney's my pitching coach. I guarantee you. I know he's thinking that. And Mr. Graber too. He's like, that dude spoke more words in less time. So I was like, that's another guy. Buck's like, I don't know what he does, but I got a job for him. I'll find somewhere I can do something with him. He's did everything so far. Everything. Hojo, played against Hojo. Yeah, there he is back there in Double A in Birmingham. Him and Mike Laga. And a guy named, was it Barbaro Garbet? He could hit. He could hit too. And you could see it right away. Hojo hit, man. He could run and hit. I can't believe Detroit traded you. Seriously, how did that happen? But anyway, Hojo was a great player right away. Played with Jesse, another guy that you see on the other side of the field when you're in New York and you're playing in Toronto. You see this dude, and you're like, this dude is a stud. He's hitting balls a mile. He's got bat speed. He can run. He can throw. He plays outfield, like as good as anybody in baseball. And you're like, this dude's a stud. So it was a pleasure playing with you, Jesse. It was fun to watch. And Buck, Buck and I played together. Buck could hit. He had a great swing. So don't let anybody tell you. Harold talked about it a little bit on the video, and Buck could swing it. So we met Angela same time, right? I met Buck. He's living upstairs. When I think you guys first met, right? And so it was a little tough. Buck's tough to get to know, right? So he could be a little hardcore on you, right? And he's not talking a whole lot. So you don't really know what he's thinking. He's keeping those cards close. So you never know how he feels about you, really. But then when he came back to coach in New York, I'd kind of established myself, and you could see how special Buck was. And to me, tons of, obviously, 4-time manager of the year, and every team he goes to wins, and he creates a great atmosphere. But he knows talent. I remember when he first came to the Yankees, and he's talking about Jeter's coming, and he's talking about Posada. Wait till you see Mariano. Wait till you see Bernie was kind of there too at the same time. He knew talent, and he knew who could play. But even I felt like it was a better indicator. He knew the right guys. He knew the right guys. Mike Gallegos of the world. Not the ones going to get you to the championship, but when you want to build a culture, you bring in guys like that. Spike Owen, another client of Jimbo's over here, Jim Krivak's. But he brought in that guy, right, and that attitude. And that's what turned the culture in New York. What Buck and Gene Michael did for the Yankees was absolutely brilliant, because yeah. Buck was very organized. He brought in the organization, and how you went about your business was something special. But I think him and Stick, the combo of what they were able to do and keep all those young players. Because everybody start complaining about, the Yankees payroll, right? And it was Jeter and Posada and Bernie and Pettit, all homegrown, which was really cool to see. So Buck was unbelievable. He did introduce me to Jimbo, who's been a blessing in my life. And man, Jimbo's a lot like my mom. He could talk. My mom could talk. My mom, hey, wrong number at the house, 7 minutes at least. And Jimbo, the first time we met in Birmingham. He's talking to me in the room. I'm listening. The bus. I can't get a word in. I can't even tell him I'm missing the bus right now. So he ends up getting me to the ballpark. I'm late, but in the minor leagues, there's nothing to do with the ballpark anyway. So, but Jimbo's been a blessing. One last story about Buck, and I can't remember who it was, but Bobby Knight. He's got Bobby Knight in the locker room, and so we got our meetings before the series, and Buck would do the hitters meet in his office, and he had all the chairs and kind of like a horseshoe, and so Buck's desk is right here, and so the horseshoe's going around, right? And Bobby Knight's sitting right here. I'm from Indiana, so I'm a huge Indiana fan. I love Bobby Knight. He's the greatest, but I'm not sitting by him. I'm going the other side. So I don't even want to mention the guy name. I will. Mel Hall. Sorry. He comes and sits right next to Bobby, and Bobby goes. He sits next to Bobby, and he goes, I need discipline. Bobby Knight grabs him around the shoulder, and he goes, you're sitting in the right chair, baby. So anyway, tip finish. Am I under time? I'm good. All right. My wife's getting so mad right now. She's like, "You better get off stage." Just listening to everyone here and watching the different levels of coaches and guys, people that have been involved in different ways. The fabric of the game makes me think about it. This is the fabric of the game. It's people. It's people that love it. The people that are teaching at the Little League level, that are donating time at T-ball, all those things. And you people represent a lot of that. We see it from major leagues, you know, to the Little Leagues. And you guys are a blessing to the game. I appreciate you all inviting me, inducting me. Hope you guys have a great night. Thank you.
What a night. Congratulations to all the inductees. Thank you so much. Donnie, you're my favorite inductee. So I have a favor to ask. We would like to get an inductee photo here on stage. So please, if all the inductees could come immediately to the stage, we can get this picture done. So no gabbing, just come to the stage. Thanks.
I'm the first one here.
Yeah, all right.
Everyone likes getting his photo taken.
All right. Jesse, come on up. Howard. Nice. Should we move this?
I just wanted to let you know. It's wonderful. It is. I'm Diane Tackler.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, but I just wanted to let you know. Sound like
Let's move this. We're going to have the inductee photo taken now.
Great job. It would be easier if you could move the video.
We got to do it on stage. We got only limited time to do this, so we got to do it really quick. You can't move this. Got to do it right there. We don't have any choice.
Coach. Thank you. Cheers.